Hi Ananya.
Hey Anshuman.
So the NFHS 5 has been released. There's been a lot of talk about it. What do we find in it?
It seems that India's population is finally stabilizing. There's an improved uptake in reproductive health services. There's a jump in immunization rates, which is good news. And that people have access to safe drinking water, more toilets, more mobile phones, and even more bank accounts.
So that's all good news. But what about the children? Are they healthy? Are they getting nutritious food? Are they going to have a good life? But before we get into that, why don't you tell us why do we even have the NFHS?
NFHS simply stands for National Family Health Survey. And as we know, NFHS 5 or the round 5 has been recently out. When we say NFHS, what we are really referring to is a larger set of demographic health surveys that are not just conducted in India but across 90 countries in the world. And it collects a variety of information spanning from indicators on family planning, institutional delivery, child mortality, maternal mortality, and other maternal and child health and nutritional indicators.
So when the countries around the world, probably in the 50s and 60s, were concerned about the population growth, then we needed a different type of data set that the census could not collect. And that is when I think NFHS was relevant, because it tells us a different type of data that the census cannot collect, right?
NFHS indeed gives us a lot of private information. For example, the age I choose to get married at, or between me and my husband, how many children do we want to have? And once my children are born, what's going to be the health and the nutritional status of my children? And not just my children, what's going to happen of me, the mother?
Interestingly, when the NFHS was first conducted in 1992, we got information on these indicators for India for the first time. We found out that on an average, a woman was getting married at the age of 17 years and having 3.4 children. And out of 1,000 children who were being born at that time, 79 would die before their first birthday.
Absolutely. These indicators are quite critical in monitoring the progress that nations are making towards achieving their sustainable development goals. In India, for example, the progress we've made in our poverty alleviation efforts. To give you two instances, a rise in institutional delivery is more likely to result in decline of the infant mortality rates. Similarly, an increase in the status of women in a household increases the likelihoods of improved literacy levels or increased opportunities for their children.
Right. So in a way, NFHS is telling the story of life cycles of our citizens, under what conditions they will be born, what environment they will grow up in, and what decisions they will take to bring the next generation to the world. In a way, it's telling us how they would perpetuate the life cycle.
Right. Next, let me introduce you to Pramila. She's had an interesting life. Okay. Let's go and meet her.
मेरा नाम है परमिला और मैं बिहार से हूँ। शादी हुई थी 13 साल में। मेरा हस्बैंड का नाम है पवन, ये यहाँ पर लिखा हुआ है, और मेरा हस्बैंड अभी हैदराबाद में काम कर रहे हैं। हाँ, हमारा 14 साल में ही लड़का हुआ है। मेरे बच्चे हैं 3 गो, अभिषेक, शिवानी और विवेक नाम है मेरे छोटे वाले लड़के का। सास ससुर चाहते हैं कि चौथा हो जाए, तो मैं अपने हस्बैंड से बोली तो बोल रहे हैं अभी 3 बच्चे को पाल ले पहले, फिर चौथा देखेंगे बाद में।
So Pramila's life cycle began in the year 1995, which is quite close to when the first round for NFHS was conducted. Right. Mind you, Pramila was born to 6 other sisters and 2 other younger brothers in the family, with only her youngest brother receiving formal education. In fact, at the time of her birth, the average fertility rate in India was 3.4. So on an average, Indian couples were choosing to have, anywhere between 3 to 4 children. Come to 2020 and NFHS 5 data, where we see that except for 3 states, almost all states and UTs for which the data has been released so far, on an average are having 2.1 or less than 2.1 children per couple.
So Pramila was also married early, at just the age of 13 years, and her husband was just 2 years older than her. Well, the age at which a woman marries is often representative of the status of women in the society. So data has shown that the age of marriage of a woman increases with the increase in the level of her education.
In fact, do you know that at the time of Pramila's marriage, almost 46% women in India were getting married before the legal age. But come to 2020, you can see that data shows that almost all states and UTs have seen a consistent fall in the number of women who are getting married before the legal age.
So Pramila was pregnant soon after she was married, and I'm guessing the survival of her kid and herself would have been at risk.
हाँ, हमारा 14 साल में ही लड़का हुआ है, तो हमारा लड़का यहीं बड़े हॉस्पिटल में पैदा हुआ था। पुलिस केस बन रहा है, कैसे होगा बाल बच्चा इसका। और वो जो दाई थी वो बेचारी इतना कि पता नहीं है मेरे को, मैं उसका कैसे शुक्रिया अदा करूं कि फिर उसने अब मेरी ही माँ बन के पूरा अपने पे रिस्क लेकर मुझे वहाँ पर भर्ती कराई। लड़ाई भी कर ली नर्स लोग से, बहुत लड़ाई करी कि वो लड़की गलती कर ली तो अब इसमें क्या कर सकते, इसको छोड़ दोगे ऐसे।
That's right. Pramila's first son, Abhishek, did have pneumonia at the time of his birth, but thanks to institutional delivery, both the mother and the child are safe and healthy.
Well, institutional deliveries have been a crucial part of survival of millions of mothers and children. Data shows that an institutional delivery significantly reduces the risk of both the mother and the child dying during childbirth. The latest NFHS 5 in fact shows that 20 out of 22 states have seen an increase in the rate of institutional deliveries, with Assam, Bihar, Himachal Pradesh and Manipur showing more than 10% increase between the year 2015 and 2020.
Pramila won't have her next child, Shivani, at least for the next 5 years. Was it intentional? Was it an informed choice? Spacing between two children is in fact an important indicator for maternal and child health. In India, there have been substantive efforts to promote spacing between two births by promoting the uptake of contraceptive methods. Though the dominant method of contraception with couples in India continues to be female sterilization.
बार बार अच्छी बात नहीं है कि दवाई सवाई खाते रहें, 2-3 बार तो खा चुकी हूँ मैं, फिर इस बार भी खा लिया था मैंने, मेरे सासू को पता ना चले, इस वजह से दवाई खा ली थी। अब उनको पता चल जाता है तो फिर मेरी खैर नहीं रहती है। मैं तो ऊपर वाले से मनाती हूँ मेरी बेटी का शादी भी हो, उम्र हम उसका शादी करूँगी वही 22-23 साल में शादी करने के लिए सोची हूँ, और छोटे उम्र में शादी नहीं करना चाहिए। इतनी ही उम्र में शादी करूँगी कि बाद में ससुराल में उसको दिक्कत ना हो, और उसके 2 बच्चे से ज़्यादा तो मैं नहीं चाहूँगी कि वो 2 ही करे, चाहे ऊपर वाला लड़का ही दे दे चाहे लड़की ही, दोनों दे दे।
Well, this also correlates with the latest findings from NFHS 5, which show that the overall use of modern methods of contraception has also increased in almost all states and union territories.
Even though early years for Pramila were tough, a lot has changed in her life, just as how it has changed for millions of women across the country.
Data from NFHS 5 shows women increasingly are spending more time in school. Percentage of women who completed at least 10 years of schooling has jumped at least by 6 points in each of the states and union territories, except Daman and Diu and Tripura. This indicates that more women are choosing to study longer and fewer are dropping out of education.
Women are also making choices in their personal health and hygiene. Data from NFHS 5 shows that more than 64% of women in each of the states and UTs except maybe Bihar are choosing hygienic methods of protection during menstruation, demonstrating a consistent trend towards improved menstrual health and hygiene.
Well, a lot is changing in asset ownership as well. More women have a personal mobile phone and a bank account that they use for themselves. This indicates that at the household level, women's lives are changing drastically from a generation ago.
बैंक अकाउंट अभी खुलवाया है, ये खुलवाया है मैंने और उससे मोबाइल से ही खुलवाया है, मेरे हस्बैंड ने अपने से मोबाइल पे देख के तो ऑनलाइन बुक करा, फिर ऑनलाइन ही से ये एटीएम कार्ड भी मंगाया, पासबुक भी लेकर आए जाके अपने से ही, सब चीज़ उन्होंने अपने से ही किया मोबाइल से। ऑनलाइन मेरा जीजा जो है ना वो सब चीज़ जानते हैं, तो उन्होंने ऑनलाइन करा था आधार कार्ड जोड़ के, तो मेरा तो उस टाइम बिहार का था आधार कार्ड, तो मुझे नहीं मिल रहा था, तो मेरा जो छोटा वाला भाई है कह रहा है चल मैं तेरा नाम साथ में जुड़वा लेता हूँ, तो उसके ज़रिए मुझे चावल, गेहूँ और मसाला, तेल, चीनी, छोले ये सब मिले थे।
However, between the last 2 NFHS rounds, the most drastic change has been in the improved access to social determinants of health and nutrition. Between NFHS 4 and NFHS 5, almost all states and UTs have reported a drastic increase in the number of households having a constructed toilet, access to improved drinking water, and provision for clean cooking fuel.
All these three indicators are critical in improving the overall public health in India, especially for women. While indoor air pollution has been one of the key causes of death, it is often caused by unclean cooking fuels like biomass, wood and coal, which emit smoke. Women are disproportionately affected by it since they do all the cooking.
Scientific evidence shows that population level coverage of sanitation facilities can have a big role to play in reducing the spread of infectious diseases, particularly diseases like, diarrhea in children, which usually tends to take a big toll on under 5 child mortality. Not just that, sanitation facilities and improved coverage can also have a protective impact and effect on the child's nutritional outcomes.
मैं जब ससुराल में थी तो 5-6 महीने के बाद टॉयलेट आया था बनने के लिए, तो मेरे ससुर आके मुझसे बोलते हैं कि टॉयलेट का ज़रूरत है। मैंने बोली तो पापा अभी ज़रूरत तो है टॉयलेट का, कि रोज़ रोज़ भारी जाती रहूँगी मैं। सुबह सुबह मेरी सास मुझे 5 बजे जगह जगह के लेके जाती थी, भगा के बोलती थी चलो जल्दी से, फिर सुबह हो जाएगा तो फिर आदमी लोग सब दिखेंगे। फिर मैं बोली मैं तो नहीं जा रही, अब मुझे जब तक टॉयलेट नहीं बनेगा मैं कहीं नहीं जाऊँगी, हिलूँगी नहीं। तो ससुर बोले ठीक है, नाम लगा देते हैं। फिर मेरा नाम, मेरा हस्बैंड का, सास ससुर का नाम सबका लिखवाया।
Well, this is where the NFHS 5 brings an unpleasant surprise. The NFHS 5 data for nutrition indicators has painted a grim picture. For the first time in the past rounds of NFHS, we have seen a surge in stunting, wasting, and the percentage of children who are underweight at least across half of the states.
Well, understanding why stunting rates are going up is again going to be complicated. Well, why? Because stunting by definition is multifactorial. For example, the prevalence of stunting can be explained by a variety of indicators like, the maternal characteristics that a child is born to, the economic situation of the household, the access to, water or sanitation services, the diets that people are consuming in the households, as well as the maternal and child health interventions that a particular household is being exposed to.
Well, even Pramila is worried about the nutrition of her youngest kid. She always complains कि खाता नहीं है.
मेरा बेटा जो छोटा वाला है विवेक, बहुत पतला ही है। वो इतना पतला है कि 2 कपड़ा 3 कपड़ा पहनते थोड़ा सा बदन लगता है, नहीं तो अगर कपड़े भी ना रखूँगी तो ऐसा लगता है लकड़ी है। हाइट बहुत कम है उसका अभी। मैं चाहती हूँ कि वो थोड़ा सा हेल्दी हो जाए, खाना पीना खाने लगे ढंग से। रोज़ उसको कोशिश करती हूँ खिलाने का घर पे जाने के बाद। दोपहर में तो मैं होती ही नहीं हूँ तो कोई खिला नहीं पाएगा उसको, मम्मी अपने काम पे ही लगी रहती है। अब डेली चिप्स मांगता है, कोई चीज़ नहीं मांगेगा, खाली चिप्स और बिस्कुट।
Well, that seems to be the worry of most of the moms these days. Well, while stunting has indeed shown a surge in India, we can also learn from some good case studies like that of Bihar probably, which has shown a 5.3% decline in stunting rates between 2015 and 2020. Not just that, it has also shown an improvement in all the other underlying determinants of stunting. Though the current stunting rates in Bihar continue to be at 43%, and it shows that, it does have a long way to go.
Well, despite the worrying trend on malnutrition, India does have a potent weapon which can be used to tackle this problem. In India, we have a 13 lakh strong army of Anganwadi workers who lead the delivery of services to women and children. As part of the world's largest group of public health workers providing for the holistic development of children and mothers, Anganwadi workers provide a range of services under the Integrated Child Development Scheme. This includes supplementary nutrition, preschool education, primary health care, immunization, health checkups, and even referral services to children under 6 years of age and their mothers.
Pramila's children too were immunized by one such frontline worker, or an Anganwadi worker, so to speak. In fact, this pretty much correlates with the data from the NFHS 5 round, which shows that out of all the 22 states and UTs except 3, almost 2/3 of children up to the age of 2 years stand fully immunized.
Well, for the last 3 decades, NFHS has shown us the public health reality of India. It has captured the gains that we have made, and it has highlighted the issues where we still have a long way to go.
That's right. What we should not forget is that there's more data for the remaining states and UTs which is still forthcoming, and it's probably only then that we'll have a clear picture of what the state of public health in India looks like areas where we as a country can take credit for, but also areas where we need to sit up and act.